Tonight on America's Hope, celebrating those who served in honor of the men and women who served in harm's way wearing the United States military uniform. America's Hope starts right now. From the NTD Global Headquarters in New York, I'm Kelly Wright, and this is America's Hope. Good evening. Thanks for joining us this hour. And wherever you are, we hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter. In fact, you matter so much that as we prepare to celebrate the Memorial Day weekend, it's really understandable that people would say, don't forget those who have served to protect you and your family. And we're talking about the men and women who wear the United States military uniform to serve in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the National Guard, and the Coast Guard, all of them working collectively to help each and every one of us enjoy the freedoms that we hold dear. And so tonight we'll hear from two men who have valuable understanding of the military. One man is Jim Lechner, who has served in the military and has fought in numerous wars and also served as a war correspondent. He'll be here to talk to us tonight. And then we'll hear from Jeff Gottesfeld. He's an author who's never served in the military, yet has a wonderful story for children to learn what it's like to serve in the military and guard the tomb of the unknown at Arlington National Cemetery in Washington. We begin now with Jim Lechner. James Lechner is one of those particular people who understands what it's like. He's a retired U.S. Army infantry officer. Jim served in the Army for 27 years, beginning as an enlisted infantryman in the South Carolina Army National Guard. He's also a 1989 graduate of the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina. He has a degree in history and was commissioned in the regular Army. And his military career, get this, includes command and staff positions in conventional and special operations units, as well as participation in 8 operational deployments, including Somalia with Task Force Ranger, made famous by the book and movie Black Hawk Down. He's also been in Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. His key leadership roles during successful operations in the city of Ramadi, Iraq, are recounted in the books A Chance in Hell and A Soldier's Dream. Jim, it's good of you to join us this hour. Thanks for being here on America's Hope, and more importantly, thank you for your service. You know, where do we begin? What motivated you to serve in the United States Army for 27 years?
Well, I was, raised very patriotically, and I was fortunate in that, I knew what I wanted to do, from a very young age. So I had a calling to do that, and I've always been interested in history, military history, and so the patriotism and the interest in military history and that calling to the military, clearly knowing what I want to do, is what really motivated me to join the Army. I loved being in the Army and to stay for 27 years and then continue on with a career contracting and serving after I retired in 2011.
What do you want the American people to know about the essence of service, selfless service, that so many members of the United States military have made and continue to make?
Well, it's really an honor to be here coming up on Memorial Day weekend, next weekend. And as you said in the opening, that really is an important time to remember those who have sacrificed everything for this nation. And to not forget about I like to highlight the catastrophically wounded, because it's one thing to be killed in combat, but it's another thing to be horribly injured and maimed and then have to live the rest of your life like that. So this is really an important weekend for veterans. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's absolutely true that for veterans that have lost somebody in combat and for Gold Star families, every day is Memorial Day. But it's good that the nation comes together on next Monday to remember that and commemorate the sacrifice of those. And so that's one of the important things I try to achieve with my book that just came out, With My Shield, to remember and tell the story and honor those men and women that have sacrificed so much in combat for the country.
I'm grateful that you've you've been doing this, and you mentioned Gold Star families. To be clear, there are some people in America who are out on the streets chanting "Death to America" and "Death to Israel." What's your message to them about Gold Star families and the sacrifice they have made in defense of defending America and saying, "Long live America"?
Well, I think what you're looking at there is two ends of the spectrum. I mean, you've got families that have sacrificed everything, and that we can be here to enjoy this type of weekend. And I think people should go out and enjoy Memorial Day. It shouldn't be like a funeral the whole time, but we should remember that there's this incredible sacrifice has been made. They gave their tomorrows for our today. Those that have fallen in combat for this country, and the Gold Star families are the ones that have to live on with that. At least the veterans are at peace that have been killed in action, but their families have to live with that. And as I mentioned, the catastrophically wounded. As far as the others, I think really it could be a long discussion, but I think what you're seeing is the ramifications of Marxism, which has entered our society. And that's the foolish people or the ignorant people that have been duped into these types of causes. And that's one of the tenets of Marxism is there's always some truth, right? There's some truth. Obviously, the importance of the civil rights movement, the importance of humanity over in the Gaza conflict. But that's one of the things about Marxism I feel very strongly about is that it's infected our society and it takes those basic truths and twists them into a lie. And that dupes people into saying things like "Death to America," which is really one of the most ignorant things that you could possibly say, especially when you contrast it to the sacrifice of Gold Star families.
You've actually gone to the battlefields around the world in defense of this nation 6 times. That is not an easy task. You've seen a lot that's gone on, and you've been reporting on a lot that's developing in Ukraine. Ukraine, of course, having to fight Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine, as we all know. Talk to me about what you've been able to see there from a reporter's standpoint.
Sure, it's been an incredible experience. I got a call out of the blue. To be honest, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to Ukraine. I knew a little bit about it, some of the basics in early 22, but when the invasion happened, I got very interested, as many people did. I got a call out of the blue, and literally within hours, I was on a plane and hired by Newsmax to participate in one of their teams. Initially thought I was just getting hired to do security and team lead for a correspondent over there. This was in March of 22. The team was actually inside Kyiv as the Russians had it surrounded on 3 sides and had the city under siege. But when I got over there, I started becoming one of the correspondents and then kind of evolved to performing as a war correspondent for the next 5 or 6 months. So I really enjoyed that. Got to use some of my professional skills from the military to assess what was going on with the Russian military and the Ukrainian military. And I'd like to think that we were cutting edge, kind of ahead of many of the news coverage that was going on because not only we were there at the front, but we were able to bring some professional military assessment to what was going on. I've also been able to assist the Ukrainians. I still contribute to Newsmax. I've been there in Ukraine now for the better part of 2 years. My role in Newsmax got me connected to the presidential administration. I actually got to travel with President Zelensky when one of the key cities in the east was under siege by the Russians, as he went down to decorate some soldiers and spent over an hour there with 30 Ukrainian soldiers decorating them under artillery fire. So got some really, for me, historic experience doing that. I've got to go to almost every single battlefield in Ukraine, either during the fighting or immediately afterwards. Certainly out in the east, down in the south, Zaporizhia and Kherson after that was liberated from the Russians about a year or so ago. Now I'm principally operating out in the east in the Donbass region around the city of Kramatorsk. And for those that are following the war, that's really where the focus of fighting has been. Again, the Ukrainians lost the city of Bakhmut. They lost the city of Avdiivka just a couple of months ago. Extremely heavy fighting around that area in the east, and I've been very honored to stand with the Ukrainians now and against what is the resurgence of the Red Army.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far of America's Hope. If you'd like to see it in its entirety, just click on the link below. Thanks for watching.